fuck with you. You little stupid ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you. You little dumb ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you. I got a million trillion things I'd rather fucking do than to be fucking with you.
Well, I'm non-binary, and I don't usually refer to myself as a man or a woman, with two exceptions. One, when I'm a grown-ass man, and you're not going to disrespect a grown-ass man. And two, when I'm doing my biology homework, and I'm a woman in...
Is enough enough? I saw the sign, and it opened up my eyes, and I am happy now living without you. I've left you all alone. I saw the sign, and it opened.
Dear people of the universe, bluebells are purple, Greenland's not green, my pinky is not pink, so what does it mean? Roses are red, but my name's not Dave. Are you drunk? I'm not drunk. Microwave.
Come get ready with me to get my labs done for the first time since coming out. I have an hour to do my makeup and get there. Starting off with the Wildcat Prebiotic Probiotic Serum. I'm just moisturizing my face. I did my brows off camera, and by that I mean I did them last night before I fell asleep, and I woke up and they look perfect. Using an Urban Decay liquid lipstick in color Unbreakable, I'm using it to color correct my face. I use a really light amount so it doesn't bleed through my foundation. Next up, I'm using the NYX Total Control Pro Drop Foundation. So for those of you that don't know what labs are, basically when you're on hormone replacement therapy or gender affirming care, generally every 3 months they have to make sure that your levels are good. They're also making sure that your testosterone levels are down and your estrogen levels are up so that, you know, gender affirming care is gender affirming. Now that that's blended out, I'm going in with a darker color to contour my jaw from the Kryolan TV Paint Stick collection, and I'm just blending. I'm setting my under eyes with the Kimchi Puff Puff Pass Powder. I almost forgot my liquid blush. This is actually a MAC liquid lipstick that I just use for blush. And now that that's blended, I'm just going in with that same kimchi powder to set the rest of my face. I've taken all of the color out of my face, so it's time to add some back. I'm bronzing with a Fenty bronzer. I'm gonna go over my eyelids. For blush, I'm using the Kimchi Trixie Mattel Blush Duo, and I'm just lathering that shit on. Using these two colors from the Morphe 35B Lisa Frank collab, and that same Fenty bronzer, as well as the light makeup filter, I'm gonna use that as a guide for where to place my bronzer on my nose, as well as my under eye highlights. So as you can see, I'm just following this for where to place the bronzer on my nose. I don't know if you guys noticed, but after I came out as trans, I had a glow up in my makeup, and it's because I moved away from drag makeup to feminizing my face. And because filters are a great accessible way to do that for trans femmes, I realized that I could also use them as templates for makeup. I'm taking a shimmer from that same Morphe Lisa Frank collab, and I'm just using it as my highlighter. I'm going in with this liquid eyeshadow from Sunset Makeup. Next, I'm gonna use this random Wet n Wild lip liner and an Urban Decay liquid lipstick in shade Law of Attraction. I have about 10 minutes left to finish up, so I'm gonna do my lashes and liner off camera, but I'm using these Kiss lashes as well as the Kimchi effing liner. I'm already 20 minutes late, but here's the final look. Hopefully they don't turn me away, so wish me luck.
I just wanna be yours. Secrets I have held in my heart are harder to hide than I thought. Maybe I just wanna be yours. I wanna be yours.
We found a spider in the house. You freaked and you jumped up onto the couch. Since I was close and able, I jumped up on the coffee table. You said you should kill that. I said no, fuck that. You said come on, be a man. What? You're a total anti-sexist, a patriarchy fighter, but your whole worldview collapses the moment there's a spider. Cool, I get it, this is the real you. It's a pleasure, nice to meet you. Shit like this brings the movement down. Everyone's a feminist until there is a spider around. Fight it.
To show you that it's okay, and today I'm getting a stomach tattoo. So just put the stencil on. We're getting little trans fairies, and they've got top surgery scars on them because I'm gonna do that soon. So
We are one fairy down. This is what she looks like. And this is the position that I'm lying in. We've done it. So the fairies look like me, and they have my hair, and they have top surgery scars on them. So this is what it looks like up close. You have this one here, and this one on this side. I look so tatted now. I got a stomach tattoo, and it was all okay.
This is for the snake.
I'm in love with Fred. There, I said it. Really? Wow, I never would have. Gosh, that's a
Hi everyone, it's Aster. Today I got a new binder from Fittest, I believe, if I'm saying it correctly. I usually get GC2B, so let's see the comparison. So I got it in the mail, and it took about 5 days to ship, so it's pretty quick. They have the washing instructions here, which is nice. This is actually really cute. Okay. Oh, it smells nice. Just smells like regular. That's nice that it doesn't smell like chemicals or something. For texture, it's nice, it feels comfortable. Okay, let's see the difficulty of putting this on. All right, so after tussling and putting this on, I have to say it's actually really comfortable.
Also, the packaging is discreet. It just says online seller on it.
Okay, so this is how it is with a different shirt on.
The only thing I wish they had is a nude color for the full tank binders. Okay, I forgot I tweaked this.
But yeah, just to confirm, I will be buying more stuff from them. It's pretty fucking good, honestly. It's pretty good.
not thinking creatively. So take a look at my hair.
Cool.
I use my hair to express myself.
That sounds pretty boring.
I use my hair to express myself.
If you like tiny skulls and bones, then this is the video for you. Let me teach you how to dissect owl pellets. Here is a list of everything that you're going to need. Not shown as a face mask, but I do recommend using that because this can get dusty. It doesn't stink though, it just kind of smells like dirt. You can either go outside and forge these yourself, or you can buy them online, and if you buy them online, they're going to be heat treated, which is done just to make everything a little bit cleaner, but that's also why they arrive in that tinfoil wrap. What you find in these pellets is going to depend on the type of owl that they came from, as well as where that owl lived, but you could find reptiles, amphibians, birds, and tons of rodents in these. I'm going to show you these 3 pellets today because they're all a little different, so I've got different methods for all of them. Starting with my personal favorites, I call these the fluffy boys, because look at them, they're really fluffy. These pellets are going to be the easiest to work with because they literally fall apart in your hand. There isn't really a method here beyond just pulling off tufts of fur until bones start to reveal themselves, like this here skull from a vole. You'll know you got lucky with one of these pellets if it is lighter gray in color and a little squishy. I always bring the tweezers out for some detail work, but nature's already done a pretty good job. When you found new skulls or bones, just drop them in a jar and pour in a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. I like to do this as I go. I used to water down my peroxide so that it would last longer, but now I just reuse it and it actually lasts a lot longer. So I'll show you how I do that at the end. Here's another vole skull that came from that first owl pellet. These are only medium-sized pellets, so just imagine you can get tons of stuff out of these. All right, that's enough fluffy boy. Things are gonna get a little complicated from here. I call these ones baked boys because look at them, they're like hard little cookies. There's no squish and you are not going to be able to break pieces off with just your hands. So I have to go in with tweezers right off the bat. At this point, I actually noticed a hole. If you ever see one of these holes, it is the foramen magnum, which is the hole that connects the spine to the back of the skull. Basically, I know I've got a skull right there, so I've got to be careful. These baked boys tend to have almost like a shell on the outside of the fluffiness, so I wedge my tweezers underneath and break it off, as you can see here. You'll know you have a baked boy if it is a dark black color and if there is no squish to it whatsoever. Baked boys are going to be extra work, but they are worth it because as you can see, you tend to get much larger skulls, like this rat skull. The last is what I like to call a dusty boy. There's something in the middle between fluffy and cookie-like. They tend to be dry and crumbly, and I notice that they seem to have smaller skulls in them, like these. Just go slow and don't squeeze too hard or you might squish a skull. Here's just fun anatomy for you, but this is a pelvis. The big part in the middle is the sacrum, which is essentially just fused vertebrae, and the lowest lumbar vertebra sitting right on top. And this is the hip part of the pubis, which in humans is all fused together to just make a pelvis. Here are all of my bones. I divide them up between large skulls, small skulls, and just other bones, and they're all just sitting in hydrogen peroxide. Gonna leave them for about 24 hours. The peroxide not only cleans, but it also whitens the bones, so that stuff is liquid gold. Try to save as much of it as you can. I do all of my pores through a strainer and over another jar so that I can collect everything and reuse it again for my next dissection. As you can see, my peroxide is slightly discolored, but it still works just fine. Store it somewhere dark until next time, and dry your bones on a paper towel and you're good to go.
Come with me to get my next session on my thigh tattoo. Getting the train in my chair is always stressful, but this time it was actually really smooth. I ordered bubble tea, obviously, because I literally can't do anything without it. And then we got started on the shading. Because of my disability, I thought it best to do this tattoo in sections. Shout out to Invictus Ink in Plymouth for being an incredibly wheelchair accessible studio. And here is what we got done today. I'm so happy and I can't wait for the next session.
So why would I waste my goddamn time? I'm in my mirror, thinking up between my eyes. I'm dripping down until you wanna taste no wine. Why would I bother with touching anybody else? I'm so high, fuck myself. Oh, Mickey, you're so bright, so fine, you're on my mind. Oh, Mickey, you're so bright, so fine, oh, Mickey, you're so bright, so fine, you're on my mind. Oh, Mickey, you're so bright, so fine.
I believe if only I could find a reason. I'm me because I grew up in New England. There are many things that I would like to say.
Hi, I'm your local partially deaf person that's been using and learning BSL for a few years. So here you go. To do the sign overwhelmed, we just take out like 2 flat hands with your fingers spread and kind of wave them over your head like that, like clouding emotion. So that's overwhelmed. The sign for hug is 2 fists like this and they go across your chest. Hug, hug. And the sign for water, you kind of do like this but more flat. And then you go water down the side of your cheek, so water. I don't know if this person is from the UK or America or something, but this is the sign for in the UK, but regardless, you can obviously still use these even if you're not in the UK.
I try to laugh about it, hiding the tears in my eyes, 'cause boys don't cry. Boys don't.
This is modern feminism talking. I expect to run the world in shoes I cannot walk. Money is the anthem of success. So before we go out, what's your address?
Digital singular non-binary they used to exist in Chinese. Prior to 1917, this character ta was a third-person pronoun for everyone. Its radical prefix suggests a person and not any gender. However, the New Culture movement in the early 1900s criticized the classical Chinese ideas and promoted Western ideas. Specifically, Beijing University professor Liu Banong found third-person gender-inclusive pronouns inconvenient, especially when translating Western literatures from English to Chinese. For example, the pronoun she in English was often translated as this woman or that woman in Chinese because we didn't have Chinese words comparable to English words like she and he. As such, the professor proposed the idea to adopt gender-specific pronouns like in English. He pulled out this once rarely used character from the Chinese dictionary and redefined it to mean she. In contrast, this character changed from a third-person gender-inclusive pronoun to he in modern Chinese.
If the Earth Kingdom discovers us, they'll have us killed.
But if the Fire Nation discovers us, we'll be turned over to Azula.
Earth Kingdom it is.
Well, I'm a wheelchair user, which means that I'm very interesting to children. They often look at me, ask questions and things like that. And the other day I was rolling down the street and I heard a child ask a question to their guardian. They asked, why did that wheelchair user's legs just move in their wheelchair? And my heart absolutely dropped. It didn't drop because of the question was fine, that's how children learn. It dropped because I'm never sure how the guardian is going to respond. But this time I was really pleased. The guardian didn't shush the child, they didn't say to the child, don't ask questions, it's offensive. They just answered it, honestly. They said, some people need a wheelchair all the time, some people need a wheelchair some of the time, and it just depends on the person, and all wheelchair users are valid. Some people need help walking because of pain, dislocations, dizziness. Some people need help walking because they're unable to walk at all. So that person may have movement in their legs, but they just need some help getting around. And it was just really joyful for me to experience a guardian answering the question, not turning their child off for asking the question, and also just answering it correctly.
But if you take on to drive and the music is right, she might let you stay. But just for the night.
Here are some things that I genuinely thought I invented. Yes, unfortunately, this is an image of winter gloves. One day, my hands were cold and I said the following words. They should make socks for your hands. The immediate and ongoing torture I received from my family for this indiscretion quickly, reminded me that no, I had not invented this concept, and gloves, in fact, already existed. The truth of my next invention took a little longer to come to light. This story takes place when I was around 16, 17. I had a weekend job as a cleaner / receptionist at a local leisure centre. In the office of said leisure centre, there was a machine where we would make coffees and teas and stuff for people who wanted coffees and teas, and we were also allowed to make our own coffees and teas. I had a great idea of combining 50% coffee with 50% hot chocolate. Remarkable, I know. I decided to call my creation Choffee, as in chocolate and coffee. I was very proud of it. This delusion lasted for a couple of weeks because honestly, it wasn't a very busy gym and I didn't talk to many people while I was there. So I just had a ball, making myself choffies all day. Until once again, my family, the people who are supposed to care for, nurture me, inspire me, and help me to achieve new heights, crushed me. I was not a coffee aficionado. I had no idea that mochas already existed, and frankly, I thought Choffee was a better name. This next one, I'm not sure if we can truly call it my invention, but it's silly enough that I'm going to tell you anyway. I was with my beloved bandmates, and we were talking about, the fact that we'd probably need to get the heater in the rehearsal space soon, and, other autumnal related things, and I said, yeah, because it's getting towards that cold time of year. To which they replied, that cold time of year? Jen, do you perhaps mean winter? I of course did mean winter, but had decided to call it something completely different. I don't know. So there we have it. The holy trinity of my stupidity laid bare for you all to have a giggle at.
A man just pointed at my hoodie and said, do you even listen to them? Name 3 songs.
How embarrassing for him. I made this myself. It's not a bad.
Secretly, I'm aiming for a rhythm that exceeds my expectations. Am I ever gonna get it?
You've got any connection to the autism community? Here's some autism vocab you should be familiar with. A meltdown is an emotional or behavioral response to an overwhelming situation. Elopement is running or wandering away from a safe person or place. Prosody is the intonation, pitch, volume, and inflection we use when speaking. Scripting is repeating words, sounds, or phrases heard in the environment or on TV shows or videos. Perseveration is getting stuck on a thought, action, or activity and being unable to mentally shift gears. Stimming is repetitive motor movements or sounds. Expressive language is the language we can express, and receptive language is the language we can understand. Executive functioning are the skills that allow us to plan, remember, organize, and regulate ourselves. Leave me a comment if there are any other terms you want definitions for, or if you want me to expand on any of these.
For years I've roamed these empty halls. Why have a ballroom with no balls?
Ugh, I hate people that work at the bank. Shh, I work at the bank. Here is $1.
You don't exist. Take a perk and it's hope.
For the rest of your life, I'll be there. I'll be stuck in your head like the roots of your hair.
There's nothing wrong with my body. Fat is not a dirty word. If my body tells me something, I will make sure it is heard. If my body is a vessel, I will give it what it needs. I will not betray my body, no matter what they think of.
Oh, I'm sorry, girl. You gotta stand up or something. You almost knocked me over, Bookie. Here you go. I apologize. You were so good. Think about it.
So today we're at the orthopedist, and in 2 days we go to the orthodontist. So we're looking at spines that aren't straight and teeth that aren't straight this week. So I think the medical opinion seems to be there's nothing about this child that's straight. And also I think we just We just confused a nurse with our gender presentation, I think.
The lady was like, has anything changed since he was here last time? And I was just sitting there like, did I hear that right? And then they switched to she, and I was like,
They were like, we don't know what to use.
I'm guessing they looked at the documents, saw it was like sex, like female or something, and they were like, oh.
We just, we filled it out before. We told them before that it's they, them, but maybe they got tripped up.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It's just not real. I'm a ghost. I almost fell off of that.
All right, well, so we're waiting to see the doctor.
The Goth Mushroom Crew and their problems.
Give it to me, I'm worth it. Baby, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. Give me, I'm worth it. Give it to me, I'm worth it.
To the left this time. Right foot to the left. Left foot to the left. Slide to the left. Slide to the left. To the left, to the left.
Hey, you're tooting on them bagpipes, Clyde. But you said it best, there's no place to hide.
What the? Are you thinking about traveling for your top surgery? I have some tips. I traveled for my top surgery about 11 weeks ago, and I'm gonna zip this up now because it's freezing in my office. Travel tip number 1. The number 1 thing that I did was when I booked my airline ticket, I clicked that I needed a wheelchair and assistance. Regardless of how many days you're staying, regardless of how well you think you're going to feel, do that just in case. It varies from airline to airline, but for me, we had to arrive about 60 minutes early. We waited in a waiting area, and a man with a wheelchair came and he assisted us with our bags. He pushed me the whole way to my gate and through security. It was so nice to not have to worry about if I could physically walk from one side of the airport to the other if our gate was far away. And our gate was far away. I 100% would not have made it to our gate in time if I were walking or attempting to walk. And I felt good before I got to the airport. So you never know. Just have that backup set up, and I swear it'll take so much anxiety off your shoulders. Number 2, if you're staying in a hotel or an Airbnb, try to see if there's a way you can get things sent there beforehand. I traveled to Miami, and luckily we had a friend in Miami who I was able to send stuff to her apartment, and then when we got there, she was able to bring us the stuff. Things like extra pillows, a water bladder. I'll make a different video about like supplies that really saved me. Having a way to send things ahead of time really helped. When in doubt, you can always ask your surgeon or the hotel you're staying at or even the Airbnb host. Tip number 3, give yourself extra time before your surgery if you can. Again, everybody's different. I'm immune compromised and I knew I would have a slower time getting back on my feet. So we got there 2 days early so I could get accustomed to the surroundings and so we could make sure the Airbnb was ready for me to be post-surgery. Since you can't reach your arms up after surgery, that meant making sure everything was kind of on my level and easy for me to get to, making sure everything was safe, and setting up the bed in the areas that I would be inhabiting like the couple days post-op where I really wasn't going to be feeling well. For post-op, I was able to stay until I was 9 days post-op. I was very lucky to be able to afford this, and that's not the case for everybody. The rule of thumb is usually 7 days post-op. I think I could have realistically traveled 7 days post-op, but having the extra couple days really helped in my case. I was more stressed out to travel after the surgery than I was about the surgery itself, but lining up the wheelchair assistance, making sure I had everything I needed, and planning ahead really helped. Again, everybody's different. If you're on the fence about traveling for surgery, I think the 2 biggest factors are cost and if you have a support system there. If you have a caretaker coming with you or you know somebody there who can help you out, that's going to be huge. And I definitely know people who have come through the day before surgery, gotten their surgery, and left like within the 7 days after, and they're just fine. So no matter what you decide to do, as long as you keep the things I mentioned in mind, I think you should be good. Good luck, and I have more tips on my profile.
What in the world? Oh!
I don't know if it's the trauma or the autism, but my starter response is fucked. I have 2 options. Number 1, hey, Jesus fucking Christ. And number 2, oh, that's it. There's no in between.
You got some soft lips and some pearly white. I wanna touch them in the dead of